Welcome to the Geeks and Greeks podcast, where we bring in the latest and greatest in the world of sports. We couldn't be more thrilled to kick off this exciting journey with all of you. In this podcast, we'll dive into everything from game recaps to news and hot takes. Whether you're a diehard fan or just someone looking to stay in the loop, there's something here for everyone. So grab your favorite team's jersey, settle in with some snacks, and let's get ready for an adrenaline-packed ride through the world of sports. Alright guys, welcome back to another episode of the Geeks and Greeks. We are in the middle of the dog days of winter of the NFL offseason.
Dog days of winter?
I mean, it ain't summer yet, so it can't be the dog days of summer.
Dog days of fall, autumn, spring? Spring, that's the next season. I know my seasons. I passed 4th grade. What are you talking about?
I mean, has spring technically started yet? I guess it did with the daylight savings time, didn't it?
Oh, yeah, no, I don't think it. I mean, I don't know. I'm outside in shorts, and then the next day I'm outside in a winter coat. So I have no idea what's going on with the weather.
I'd say welcome to the Midwest, but you're not in the Midwest anymore, so...
First day of spring is in 2 days.
There you go.
So it is still, I mean, it's not like dog...
The absolute dog days of winter. Got it.
Yeah. Either way, I mean, we're almost here to the NFL draft, which is the most exciting thing so far coming up into the NFL offseason.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait. I mean, I'm excited for the draft. It's always fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of stuff going on in this offseason. It's been very active. Yeah. And I don't know if it's like, maybe I'm paying closer attention, but like, I just don't ever remember an offseason being this active this quickly. Like, usually it's all after the draft that you hear about a lot of stuff happening. Like, I don't know.
I don't know if it's just because this season was so just off the walls bonkers that no one knew what was happening until like week 10. Like just everything was so up in the air. Like everything changed on a week to week basis until like the very end of the season. And I think that's why we saw such a mad dash to get free agents this year at like the very beginning of free agency. And even then, I think some of the top free agents still haven't even been signed yet.
Yeah.
Like, as far as I know, I don't think Josh Sweat's been signed.
Yeah, Josh Sweat's been signed.
Yeah.
Has he?
Yep.
I missed that one. Did he go back to Philly?
No. Unfortunately.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of saw that coming. I mean, Philadelphia doesn't have the money to pay everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just kind of the way it works. And we'll get back. We'll see. I mean, I don't know if we'll get back to the Super Bowl. I'm not trying to predict that right now. But, I mean, we'll get back as in we'll have a pretty decent defense. Yeah. That's all. Josh Sweat's going to get a hit, though. I mean, I'm going to miss him. Brandon Graham retired. That's another one. I'm going to miss him a lot. I think he announced his retirement like today or yesterday, actually. Well, this won't air till Friday, I guess. Earlier this week.
Josh Sweat signed with the Cardinals.
Thank you.
For $76 million for 4 years.
I honestly thought he was going to get more.
Yeah?
Like, I thought he was going to get something closer to the $100 million range.
Yeah.
For as instrumental as he was to that Philly defense, like, I thought he was going to get... I didn't think necessarily Myles Garrett money, but I thought he was getting closer to what Max Crosby got. Because I think he's better than Max Crosby myself.
Yeah.
But, to me, I think Arizona got a steal at 76.
Yeah.
But let's start the podcast off with our NBA Game of the Week.
All right. So, this week's Game of the Week was the Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Detroit Pistons. And I mean, this game was, again, this was a pretty good game. It wasn't as close as some of the other ones we've had, but this was a good one, and I really enjoyed it, mostly just because, I mean, for me, we knew what OKC was. OKC's been the best team in the league this entire season, but Detroit's one of those young and up-and-coming teams that's finally kind of starting to put a good team together. And it's kind of nice to see because Detroit's a good basketball city, and it's always fun when Detroit is good. And they haven't made the playoffs since 2019, and they probably will this year as long as they stay the course.
Yeah.
And it's fun to see the young guys to get up and go and to see them play well against a good team like this.
Yeah, and I mean, you said it's not close, and I guess the final result says that, but it felt a lot closer than it was. And, like, I know that's a sports cliche, but it was definitely true here.
Well, yeah, it was close until probably about halfway through the fourth quarter, and that's when OKC really kind of just clamped down on defense and really turned it up on the offensive side. Like, it was close until the very end of the game, and then OKC kind of pulled away from them, and they did what they were supposed to do. They turned it up when it really mattered, I think.
Yeah.
But I mean, Detroit held in there for most of the game, and to me, I mean, for a young team like this, that's really the most you can really ask for a team that's still up and coming. Because I mean, besides for about 3 or 4 vets that have been there, most of their guys are only about 2 or 3 years in the league.
Yeah.
Like their starting lineup, Tobias Harris is the only veteran on that team. Cade Cunningham, I think, had the next most experience, unless Tim Hardaway. I think Tim Hardaway may have started, but like, I mean, their star player is only 3 years in the league, so I mean, he's still fairly new. And it's just like, I mean, you've got a young team like this, and they hung in there with the best team in the league. And this team's got a top 5 defense. As a young team like that, you've got a top defense. That's incredible.
I mean, so this is, what, the second Oklahoma City game we've watched when we've been doing this. I really like watching Oklahoma City play. Like, they're so good. SGA, the way he creates space, like when he's going to shoot and he like fakes the dive in for going for the layup and then drops back and hits the fade, and it's just like, it is a thing of beauty watching him break ankles like that. It's incredible. But when Cunningham got kicked out of the game at the end of the third period, I mean, I have never seen a basketball team play angry before. And Detroit was playing angry after that. I mean, it was insane. And they came back, I think it was like 91-74 at the end of the third or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was like, they came back to within 1 point. At one point, it was 101-1. Or 101-100. And it was like, it was insane. And they were playing like crazy defense. There's this one time, I think it was Caruso from Kansas City was going for like a layup. And a Piston, I didn't see who it was, just flew over out of nowhere from behind him and just snatched the ball right out of his hands as he was going for a layup. And it's like, where did you even come from? Like, you weren't anywhere near him. And they got so pissed off at the referees for whatever happened when it was like the SGA's going to line up for a free throw. And the referee gives him the ball before everybody lines up on like the side of the key. And Cunningham just lost his mind about it. They kick him out of the game because he's like cursing at the referees. The crowd is like deafening, chanting "Ref, you suck," which was, I mean, that felt so Philly to me. I mean, I'm sure people in Detroit are like, yeah, that felt very Detroit, but that was definitely a moment that felt so Philly to me. And freaking the team just lights on fire. It's like they're down by 20 points at that point. All of a sudden, they come back and bring it within 1. I'm like, holy shit, I want Detroit to win this game. Like, so bad, I want Detroit to win this game. And then the last, like, 3 minutes of the fourth, it's just like, oh.
Detroit fans may be tough, but they'll never be pelt Santa Claus with snowballs
Okay,
tough.
Listen, Santa booed first, okay? It's factual. Santa started it, okay? It was not our fault. He was a drunken mess, and he started booing the crowd. That is why we threw snowballs at him. Not because he was Santa Claus. Anyway.
Philly fans may be tough, but they'll never have a brawl named after him like what Detroit does. It's the Malice at the Palace.
That's fair.
The worst part about that is the Pacers are the one that started that fight.
To be fair, technically the fans started it by throwing a beer at the Pacers.
That's true. Fair.
And then the Pacers went into the crowd and fought the wrong fan that threw the beer.
That's the greatest story I've ever heard.
Yeah, it took the NBA got quite a black eye after that one.
Yeah,
that took a while for both. That took a while for both the Pacers and the Pistons to kind of recover from that one.
God.
That was that. But yeah, and it was funny because like watching that and watching him come back, I'm like, I want Detroit to win this. I did too. I'm like, I want Detroit to win this game. I really do. I'm just like, at the same time, I'm like, when Cade got ejected, I'm like, dude, you've also got to control yourself, man. Like when you're the leader of the team, like I know you're mad and upset. That's something that's going to come with also age. Again, he's 3 years in the league. He's also young, but it's like, man, I get it. You're upset. You got to control yourself in that situation. You can't let yourself get kicked out for that.
The biggest thing is if you watch the replay of it, he turned back. And it was like, you were fine, you were fine, you were fine, you were fine. And then he turns back and goes, what the fuck is wrong with you? And
that's
the ref's
that
like,
second
what's wrong
one.
with me? You're out.
That's the
like,
second tech that gets him thrown out.
And it's like, how do you turn back at that moment? Like, you didn't need to say that sentence. Like, just keep walking, dude. You would have been fine.
What sucks is I feel like one of the veteran players that were on the court should have came and got him.
Yeah.
Like they should have got him. They should have pulled him back. I'm like, dude, like you need to calm down. Chill. We need you in this game. Yeah. Come back. Like take a breath. And like it's one of those like. But yeah, I mean, at the same time, if he doesn't get kicked out, they might not start that comeback.
Right.
And it may just even get worse from that point.
Right.
Because him getting thrown out really lit the fire under that team. And, I mean, like I said, like you said, they played mad. And they came back and started just... I mean, the defense just ramped up to a whole nother level at that point. And it was kind of made it even a better game after he got thrown out. So, I mean, one of my favorite players that I loved watching on the Pistons, his name is Isaiah Stewart. And his nickname is Beef Stew. I love watching Beef Stew.
That's awesome.
And I'm watching him, and I'm like, dude, this dude, like, just epitomizes Detroit basketball. Like, one of the fouls, he just legitimately just picked the dude up by the waist and just chucked him out of the way.
Oh, God, I remember that. And then he was like, what did I do? Like, I don't know. You picked him up like a 3-year-old and moved him out of the way?
And it wasn't as if he was a small guy. That dude is like 6'10", 235, 40 pounds, and he just picked him up and tossed him.
So funny.
I think more of what he was asking what happened was when they were saying that they were going to go check for a hard flagrant foul for the dude that was on the ground.
Yeah.
Because they thought that he caused the guy to get hurt on the ground.
Right.
And then they realized, oh no, he just stepped on another teammate's shoe and did the splits. So nope, there was no hard foul there. No, our bad. We're good. Moving on.
That hurt just watching it.
Oh yeah.
Watch that guy split like that.
Yeah, even the commentary team's like, I mean, they're stretching, but you can only get so limber before the game.
Yep, nothing's gonna save you on that one.
No, not at all. But yeah, and I mean, and one of the other notes I had again comes back to the challenge system. Pistons again had won both challenges that they took in this game on bad calls.
Yeah,
and I'm like, NFL, here we go.
Right.
Pay attention. Two bad penalties that were called. Challenges were issued and overturned on both.
Right.
Like, I mean, and I really like Detroit. I can't wait to see kind of what happens in the next year or two with this team. Because, I mean, if these young guys keep developing, this will become, I think, a really good team in the next couple of years. I mean, they're already over 500 right now. I mean, they haven't finished a season over 500 in a long time. Like, even when they made the playoffs in 2019, I don't think they were over 500 because they were the 8th seed. And at that point in the East, you can make the playoffs by being under 500. That's how bad the East was at that point. So it's like, it's possible they weren't even over 500 then. So, I mean, to have a fairly young core and be over 500 and just have the right vets in the right spot, and it's got a lot of promise for this team. And so I'm hopeful, and I like this game. Yeah. So
there are a lot of really good dunks in this game, too. This is the first game that we've watched that I've, like, really noticed the slam dunks. Like, most of the other games, like, yeah, they're there, and yeah, they're cool, and they show them in replay. But, like, we actually had some real, like, breakaways and, like, guys, like, hanging from the rim. They had to reset the rim in the middle of the game at halftime because it got all... which, all right, so they're talking about it, right? and how it used to be a fixed rim, but the dude kept shattering the backboards.
Shaq.
Was it Shaq?
It was Shaq, yep.
Yeah. So the dude kept shattering the backboards. What?
Oh, it was Daryl Dawkins in the late 70s, early 80s. He was actually on the 76ers. But inside of a week, he shattered 2 backboards, and the commissioner of the NBA came out and goes, yeah, we got to do something about this. We can't have glass shattering all over the place.
So I've got 2 things with that. One, you create a fixed rim. You have that fixed rim connect to the spine of the net, and then you clip a backboard onto it. Why not fix the rim to the backboard? Like, I don't understand why you don't just do it that way instead of creating a breakaway rim. And that way, the rim is always in a fixed spot. Also, why not use wood instead of glass?
Because you got to be able to see through it.
Why?
For camera angles. You got to be able to see what's going on from...
Okay. I'll buy that. But you could still fix the rim to the skeleton of the net rather than, like, fixing it to the backboard. I don't understand why you fix it to the backboard.
It's an interesting thought.
I mean, it's not common, even when you get a lot of in-game dunks like that, it's not common that they've got to go out and adjust the rim either. So it's not really worth it. It's the first time I've ever seen it. Yeah, I mean, even with working for like the Mad Ants and stuff like that, it's not something that they had to do. Like again, every now and then they would have to do it, but it's not something that would very commonly happen. So. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, and Shaq used to tear up backboards too. He made a good point. Yeah. Well, I mean, and Kareem would too, because they actually made it. I think it was Kareem back in college. And if it wasn't Kareem, there was somebody else. They made it illegal to dunk in college because they did it too much, and it was an unfair advantage. So they weren't allowed to dunk in college anymore.
Man, that's insane.
I know.
So, like,
Wilt Chamberlain was responsible for one of those rules.
Maybe it was Wilt that did that then. Yeah. It might have been Wilt, not Kareem. But yeah, so it's like, yeah, it's crazy like that. But yeah, one of the other cool things with the Pistons that it was fun was when we watched the Rockets, Amen Thompson was playing for the Rockets. His brother, Asor Thompson, was playing for the Pistons.
Oh, nice.
So his so we got to see his twin brother playing for the Pistons, and he was the one that was primarily guarding SGA in this game.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I had a blast. I had a lot of fun watching this game. It was a lot of fun. So,
yeah. So at one point we had the name drop of a guy named Bob McAdoo.
Yeah.
And I my note literally is on here. I don't know what they said, why they said it. I literally like, holy crap, Bob McAdoo is a real person.
Yes.
I thought it was just a made-up name that people said because it sounded funny.
No, Bob McAdoo was an NBA player back in the 70s and 80s.
Okay. So
and he played for a number of teams, Rochester Royals, Buffalo Braves, the San Diego Clippers / LA Clippers, and he also played for the Boston Celtics, too.
Well, there you go.
He played for the Lakers for a stretch, didn't he?
I don't know if he played for the Lakers. I know he played for the Clippers for a little bit.
I might be mixing it up.
Yeah. They also said at one point during this game that at halftime they were talking about how Shea is on a 61-game streak of scoring 20-plus points, which he reached 20 points at halftime.
And he's like the third NBA player ever to do it or something like that.
It's something crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So, but yeah, and he's also currently, SGA is also currently the favorite for MVP for this season as well.
I could see why. I mean, he had, last count I heard, he had 44 points in this game, but I'm pretty sure
I think he finished like 44 or 46, something like that.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah. And he makes it look so easy.
Yeah.
Like, that's the crazy part. Like, he had 44, but like he made it look just effortless.
Mm-hmm.
So, just absolutely effortless, and just the way he can get around and just even through double teams, and just it looks like they have him trapped with two guys, but somehow he can step through and just get the shot off, or he'll take a crazy hard shot and just makes it, and it's just like, how does he do this? Like, it's insane. And the crazy part is is that OKC didn't even draft him. They traded for him and during his rookie season.
Oh, Jesus. Who drafted him?
The Los Angeles Clippers actually drafted him. And not his rookie season. They traded him in the offseason after his rookie season. He was actually part of the trade that sent Paul George from the Oklahoma City Thunder to the Los Angeles Clippers.
Yeah. Funny story about Paul George. He is currently a 76er. And 2 weeks ago, SmackDown was in Philly. And you know how they cut to celebrities in the crowd?
Yeah.
They cut to Paul George, and Philly booed the absolute hell out of him.
Oh, yeah. He's got like one of the worst contracts in the NBA right now. He's got like a 4-year, $200 million contract, something like that.
Yeah.
And he barely played this year.
Right, and the Sixers suck. Like, absolutely terrible. To the point where it's like, I'm listening to these Sixers podcasts, and they're talking about must-lose games. And I'm like, This is the worst thing I've ever heard. I don't understand how basketball fans do this.
Well, the problem, so the problem with Philly right now is that their first round pick is top 6 protected, so they have to get a pick between 1 through 6. Otherwise, it goes to OKC. So if their pick falls out of the top 6, they lose it. So they have to lose games, otherwise they don't get a first round pick this year.
Oh, jeez.
That's why it's must lose games.
It's insane. It's insane.
So this is why they're kind of in a dire straits of we have to lose to get our odds up. And the problem is the NBA isn't just however bad you were in the season and that's your pick. It's a draft lottery. Mm-hmm. So you don't know what pick you're going to get.
Yeah, that's the dumbest thing ever. It should be on merit alone. The draft lottery is just a way of rigging it.
Because it's a percentage based on your final standings. And
right.
like the worst 3 teams in the league all have the equal opportunity equal percentage for the number 1 pick. It's like 14% for for the worst 3, and then it gets incrementally lower after that. So
it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I mean, Philly could jump to number 1. I forget depending. I mean how it works. I can't remember exactly. But like or they could, depending on where they finish overall, they could drop to like 8, 9, and then lose their pick, and it goes to OKC, and then OKC gets a top 10 pick, even though they're the number 1 seed in the playoffs.
The crazier thing about it to me is they keep talking about the reverse standings and how the 76ers are the 5th in reverse standings right now, and they're going into must-lose games. Like, I feel like I'm in Bizarro world.
Yeah.
Like, these are the terms they use. It's like, wow.
Yeah, it's nuts, man. Like, and it's also it's crazy because going into the season, no one thought Philly was going to be this bad. Like, I mean, Philly should have been a playoff team, but like, Embiid got hurt, then George couldn't stay healthy, Maxey can only do so much, and it's like, and the team just kept getting hurt and had bad injuries all year, and it just became one of those years, and it unfortunately just sucks. And then it got to the point where it's like, shit, might as well just shut everybody down. There's no point in playing anymore.
I mean, can you tell me the last time Embiid wasn't injured during a season? Majorly.
I mean, he's never not been injured during the season, but I mean, at least last year he was playing during the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, he was only playing on one leg, but he was at least playing.
And then didn't he delay a surgery so he could play in the Olympics?
Yep. So, and then he tried to play this season and delayed it even more. So now he's going to be out. He's going to have surgery now. He'll be out and the recovery time is between 6 months and a year.
And they wonder why we booed Paul George when he showed up to wrestling.
Yeah, right. And he's only going to get worse because Paul George is already 34. He's not young at all. He's already old for basketball standards.
Right. That's the big question that everyone's asking in Philly now. Is this father time or is Paul George just injured?
Yeah, it's father. It's honestly probably a little bit of both, honestly. I mean, it's because he was also injured out in LA before he came to Philly. So it's like, it's not as if this is new. He was also injured before he came here.
Yeah.
So but yeah, it sucks.
So Adam, who do you have us watching next week?
All right, so this coming week, we are going to be watching another Denver Nuggets game. So it's going to be Denver versus the LA Lakers. And they actually play tonight. It's going to be, Tom's going to get to watch his favorite basketball player of all time. He gets to watch LeBron James play. This will actually also be the first time that we will be watching Luka Doncic play since he was traded to the Lakers on the show.
Oh, that's right. I was wondering why he wasn't in this Oklahoma City game. I was like, wasn't that Luka guy in this team?
No, he was in Dallas.
He was on Dallas. Okay. He was on the other team.
So he was on Dallas. So yeah, this was Denver versus the Lakers, and this is actually an important game because Denver is number 2 in the West, and the Lakers are number 3 right now. So this is going to be a playoff seeding game, and we've actually got less than a month before the playoffs start in the NBA. So the last day for the NBA regular season is April 13th. So we've got less than a month before playoffs start in the NBA. So This will mean something here coming up. So this actually will be a fairly important game. So So that game actually starts at 10. So it actually starts here in about a little over an hour, local time, not their time, our time.
All right. So that brings us to the news segment of the Geeks and Greeks podcast. March Madness started this week with the first 4. This is kind of like the wild card round of the NFL, except way more lame. 8 teams playing for the last 4 spots of the 64-team bracket. We already had North Carolina win over San Diego State 95-68. They'll go on to play Ole Miss. Alabama over St. Francis. They'll go on to play Auburn. About 10 seconds ago, American U lost to Mount St. Mary's, but that doesn't matter either because they're going to go up against Duke next. And in about 30 minutes, you're going to see the start of Texas Longhorns versus Xavier. And again, doesn't matter because they're going to be going up against Illinois right after that.
I mean, I wouldn't quite say that. I mean, that's the 6-11 seed. That's a 6-11 game, and that's an upset that can happen.
That can happen.
Texas also Texas has one of their players at Texas is actually supposed to be projected as a top 5 pick in this year's NBA draft.
Fair enough.
So, I mean, Illinois has one as well, but I mean, 6-11 is more of an upset possibility than a 1-16.
Yeah. The first proper round of March Madness starts tomorrow and wraps up Friday, followed by the second round on Saturday and wrapping up on Sunday. By the end of this weekend, we'll be in the Sweet 16 from the original 68 teams that have started this tournament.
That's crazy.
Yep.
All right, moving on to the next story of our news. Patrick Morrisey, the governor of West Virginia, is a giant child, as he is threatening to sue the NCAA because West Virginia U didn't make it into the March Madness tournament.
Wait, that's why he's suing him?
Do an awful lot of talking, don't they?
He is quoted as saying, West Virginia deserved to be in the NCAA tournament. This is a miscarriage of justice and a robbery at the highest level. He's saying this while standing behind a podium with a giant sign that says National Corrupt Athletic Association, NCAA. Look, there are 355 colleges in Division I basketball for the NCAA. A lot of them didn't make it. And frankly, I don't think West Virginia has the best argument for being in amongst the teams that were snubbed. Like, I would put Boise State in before them because they had a way better record than West Virginia. But, anyways.
Oh my god.
I think it would be hilarious if that went through. Like, what would his end game be? Would it be like every year that the governor of the state, if he decides his college is good enough, they just get into the tournament? Like, is that what his plan is?
I mean, here's my biggest question. What happens if he wins?
Right.
Like, are they going to retroactively go back and put him in the tournament? They got to replay the games. Like, I mean, what happens? You win the case, then what? Do you just get money? Like what? Like, because I'm sure the school gets money if they make the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They just get the money they would have gotten if they say they won, which they're not going to. But it's like, so what?
Yeah.
He's trying to say that there's too much obfuscation in the selection process by the NCAA committee. And yeah, there is, but that's also because there's a lot of intangibles involved in deciding what teams are better than other teams.
I was going to say, I mean, he's not wrong there, but we've known that since there's been an NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's a known quantity.
Like, basketball is all about its secret backdoor shit. Like,
yeah.
Were we just talking about the lottery draft for some fucking reason?
Right? Exactly.
Basketball there's got to be some kind of corruption, or it's not basketball. It's just how it works.
I mean, dude, come on, Utah State made it.
All right, and moving on to the next story, musical chairs. On the offseason of the NFL, players go from team to team trying to land. The Seahawks are in rebuild mode, apparently. They've let loose DK Metcalf to the Steelers and Geno Smith to the Raiders in exchange for a second and a third round pick in this year's draft. The Eagles let Josh Sweat and Milton Williams and did a really interesting trade with the Browns, where the Browns got Kenny Pickett and the Eagles got Dorian Thompson-Robinson and a 5th round from this year's draft. So I think the 5th round pick was more important in that transaction.
I mean, I'd take a 5th round pick over Kenny Pickett. So.
Yeah, I would too. No offense to the guy. He hasn't gotten a fair try, I don't think. Because he hasn't started a team yet, so maybe he'll be fine.
Thought he started in Pittsburgh a couple years ago.
I didn't think he actually started. He might have.
But then we have the quarterbacks who have signed 1-year contracts. This list consists of Daniel Jones signing with the Colts, Marcus Mariota signing with the Commanders. That's who they are now. They're the Commanders.
The team that shall not be named.
I keep wanting to dead name them. I'm sorry. Jimmy Garoppolo signing with the Rams and Gardner Minshew signing with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Did he replace Carson Wentz, or is Carson Wentz still there?
Oh my god.
It'd be hilarious if Gardner Minshew and Carson Wentz are fighting over the number 2 spot now.
That's great. And to answer your question, Pete, so Kenny Pickett has started 24 games in his NFL career.
Okay.
So, yeah, he started, it's 12 games in 2 seasons for Pittsburgh. So he got a decent shake.
Yeah. Okay.
Then Cooper Rush got pawned off onto the Ravens for a 2-year contract. Jacoby Brissett to the Cardinals for 2 years. Andy Dalton to the Panthers for 2 years. Justin Fields to the Jets
for 2 years. So really, Dalton went back to Carolina. That's where he was last year.
And then the one that hurts my brain is to the Seattle Seahawks for a 3-year contract, Sam Darnold. But then you had Josh Allen signing a 6-year deal with Buffalo for $330 million.
That one doesn't surprise me at all.
Not a bit.
Yeah.
That's warranted after the MVP season, honestly. And honestly, coming off an MVP season, 100% worth it, too, for both sides. If you're Buffalo, I mean, it's easier to get it done now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, it's only going to go up because the price is only going to keep increasing. Lock them up, sign it now, just bite the bullet and just do it.
Yeah.
And then a quick shout out to the quarterbacks who converted their contracts to allow the team to free up cap space: Deshaun Watson, Dak Prescott, Derek Carr, and Patrick Mahomes. Thanks for taking one for the team.
There you go.
Dallas still hasn't re-signed Micah Parsons.
Carson Wentz, by the way, is a free agent. He is
okay,
no longer with Kansas City.
Uncle Rico is the backup in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
But apparently the Browns are considering bringing in Wentz.
So we're going to have Kenny Pickett and Wentz?
Yeah.
All right, it's going to be a mid-off.
Yeah. Who can make the least amount of mistakes?
Because we know it's not Deshaun.
Kenny Pickett and his tiny hands, or Carson Wentz and his constant fumbling?
Because of tiny hands.
Probably. I don't know how to remember Carson Wentz's hand size. All I remember is when Kenny Pickett first came to Philly, everyone was like, his hands are so small. I'm like, what? It's a weird thing to say. I mean, I guess he's a quarterback, so it makes sense. You got to grip the football, but like...
Still, it's just odd.
Just weird.
That's an odd criticism, I gotta say.
I mean,
but that leaves Jameis Winston, who is still unclaimed. Rumors are that the Cowboys are interested in him, but nothing solid yet. Russell Wilson in the wind, and Aaron Rodgers. I've
also heard the Giants are interested in Jameis as well.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
I've heard the Steelers are interested in Aaron Rodgers, as well as the Vikings are interested in Rodgers. Which, if he goes to the Vikings, that's just poetry. Because you can't write that. He followed the exact same path as Brett Favre. Come on.
That would be pretty awesome.
That would be amazing.
He's literally stepping in the snow footsteps, just following Brett Favre.
I mean, the next thing he goes to Mississippi and embezzles a bunch of money from one of the universities or something.
But the thing with that gets me is the Steelers walked away from $20 million Justin Fields and a $33 million for Sam Darnold. And now they've come to Aaron Rodgers, who wants $45 million.
We'll take what we give you.
Yeah, absolutely. You get 10. I wouldn't give him more than 10 to 15 million for a year, the way he played last season.
So I think it's adorable that he thinks he can still set his price after the seasons he's had.
Oh my god.
I'm shocked that Pittsburgh didn't bring back Justin Fields. Like I said, I don't think he played that bad last year.
Yeah.
And now you have real receivers and a somewhat decent offensive line. You're having Fields, who's never had real receivers to throw to. Now he's got DK Metcalf and, granted, a mentally unstable George Pickens, but still a decent receiver. You've got a decent offense. You just need a quarterback. Fields isn't bad. He's not a bad quarterback. He's just had a raw deal his entire time in the NFL. He's been screwed. And now he's screwed even more because he's gone to the Jets.
I mean, I personally still hope that Rodgers goes to the Giants. Because, I'd love to beat Aaron Rodgers twice a year. That'd be fantastic.
I mean, I would too, but I don't know if I can hope for that. Even being a Cowboys fan, I don't know if I can hope for that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Even beating the Giants, we might beat them. We barely beat them last year with Daniel Jones and whatever scrub they got out of a deli to play quarterback.
Hey, listen, let's not defame Daniel Jones's name in front of Tom, okay? I know how big of a fan he is. He's planning on going out buying his jersey.
We'll see how summer camp goes.
So, who are you rooting for, Tom? The white Danny Jones or the black Danny Jones?
It just feels like Colts fans have been given, do you want this handful of feces or this handful of feces? I don't know. They're both crap.
I mean, at least it's not do you want this handful of feces that's only 5 minutes old, or do you want this handful of feces that's 10 years old? Because that's what you kind of had been getting. At least now they're the same age.
And there's no really good quarterbacks in the draft this year, so.
Not where you're drafted, no. I mean, you might be able to take a flyer on a quarterback in the third or fourth round and maybe throw him out there later in the year to see what happens. But because at that point in the year, what do you have to lose?
You're hoping for Tom Brady levels of luck. And
again, it's one of those things to me. The way I see it, if you draft a quarterback in say the third, fourth round, and like by week like 9, 10, 11, and you're not in it, put him out there, see what happens. You got nothing else to lose to gain. I mean, at least throw him out there and see what you get. Maybe you get something. You strike gold. You know.
Now, I'm not comparing McNabb to that level of quarterback, but isn't that what they did to McNabb? They kind of have him watch for like the first half of the season, and then they...
Yeah. Actually, funnily enough, the quarterback that was sitting in front of him was Doug Peterson.
Oh.
And then he ended up coming back to Philadelphia and bringing us our first Super Bowl, which was pretty awesome as coach. But yeah, it was 8 games of Peterson and then 8 games of McNabb. And that was basically stated because they drafted McNabb and then they went out and got Peterson, and they were like, we're bringing Peterson in to teach McNabb how to play, and we're only going to have him play the first half. Like, we knew that going into the season we were going to get 8-8 out of the two of them.
Yeah. So and I mean, to be fair though, for Colts fans, like, this has been Rick Ballard's MO since he's been the GM. He's never been able to identify a quarterback.
Yeah.
So, or an offensive lineman.
All right, so that brings us to the final segment of the podcast, the trivia section.
Woo.
With a game I call I Know What You Did Last Season. Now, I will give you both a multiple choice question about the 2023 NFL season. And you will both answer the question, and whoever gets the answer right gets the point. Because you both could be right. The 2023 NFL season was known as the year of the backup quarterback. Which one of the following quarterbacks did not miss over half the season due to injury? Kirk Cousins, Kyler Murray, Daniel Jones, or Baker Mayfield?
Wait, so who's answering the question? Are we just shouting out the answer?
Both of you. You both answer.
Who didn't miss over half the season?
I'm going to say Daniel Jones. That's my
So we just finished the 2024, so we're doing 2023. No, I'm going to go with Murray, Jones, Cousins. Who was the other guy?
Mayfield.
Mayfield is my answer.
Adam, you are correct.
Damn.
Yeah, because Cousins tore his Achilles or his ACL, and then Jones tore his ACL as well.
Jones played 6 games, Murray 8, Cousins 8, but Baker did all 17.
See, I thought that Jones was removed because he sucked, not because he got injured. And I'm not even kidding, because he said due to injury, and I'm like, that's the trick.
And that was this year he was removed.
That's fair.
The Detroit Lions, known before the 2023 season as perennial underdogs, were awarded the NFL kickoff game. They did not let the organizers down. Who did they defeat? Did they defeat their divisional rival, the Chicago Bears, their traditional rival, the Cleveland Browns,
Chicago Bears.
the 2022 season NFC champions, the Philadelphia Eagles, or the 2022 Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs?
It's the Chiefs.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the Chiefs.
You are both correct.
Yeah, I remember that.
Who won the NFC South in 2023? Houston Texans, Atlanta Falcons, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, or New Orleans Saints?
Jesus.
Well, I mean, I'll give you this. It can't be the Texans because they're in the AFC South.
I will admit I didn't make this one.
So that eliminates one.
I didn't even catch that. That's great.
Yeah, neither did I.
I'm being nice here. I'm going to say the Buccaneers.
2023. Yeah, I think it was the Buccaneers. I'd agree with that.
You are both correct.
All right.
The LA Rams did not have a good first half of the season in 2023, and hitting the half point with a record of 3-9. Yet they won 7 of their last 8 matches. Which team was the only team to defeat them in the last 8 games? 49ers, Steelers, Chiefs, or Ravens?
So the LA Rams.
LA Rams. They were on a hot streak in the latter half.
Yeah, I'm going to go with 49ers on this one.
I'm feeling like it's the Baltimore Ravens.
Pete, you are correct.
Ooh, good job. It's like 2023 was like the year of Brock Purdy, and like San Francisco was like the best team in the NFC that year.
Yeah. But didn't Lamar Jackson win the MVP? And
He did win MVP in 2023, yeah. That was his second one, too.
yeah.
Which NFC team went 12-5 in the regular season for the 3rd consecutive season?
12-5 in the regular season.
Oh, no multiple choice.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. Dallas Cowboys, Arizona Cardinals, Chicago Bears, or Washington Commanders?
12-5 for how many consecutive seasons?
3.
Cowboys.
I'll trust you actually on that one. I'm just going to steal your answer and say Cowboys. I'm sorry. I have no idea.
It's like I know the Cardinals didn't. Like I know none of the rest of those teams went 12-5 that year.
Yeah.
You are both correct. The Cowboys went 12-5 for 3 consecutive seasons.
See, I know that. Like I said, I know the rest of them didn't even go close to being 12-5 that season.
For our final question of the evening, Tom Brady achieved a perfect passer rating in 2022. In 2020. No quarterback did it again until 2023 when 4 quarterbacks did it.
Damn.
Of these 5, who did not receive a perfect passer rating in 2023? Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield, and Brock Purdy.
Son of a bitch.
I feel like this is going to be a trick question.
I know.
I want to say this is Patrick Mahomes because I feel like that's the trick on this one. Is it's going to be one of those guys. Yeah, I'm going to go Pat Mahomes.
I mean, I know exactly how you're feeling about it, but with Lamar Jackson winning the MVP and him not being one of the 4 getting the perfect passer rating, that would just be kind of like perfect. So I'm going to go with Lamar Jackson as my guess.
Lamar Jackson received a perfect passer rating against the Dolphins on New Year's Eve. Patrick Mahomes did not.
Yeah.
And with a final score of Adam 5, Pete 4.
Oh,
Adam,
neck and neck. Let's
Was
go.
that last one, man? All right. Sweet, man. You know, like I said, I mean, I had a feeling like it's probably not gonna be Baker. It's probably not gonna be Brock Purdy. Otherwise, I mean, it's probably gonna be like I figured it was either Lamar or one of those guys on there. But
Yeah. I don't know. If you'd said 2023, I would have guessed Mahomes because he had such an off year. Or I'm sorry, 24. He had such an off year in 24.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. this whole last season was an off year for, like, I feel like everybody except for Josh Allen. Like, except for Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson.
Hey, listen,
this whole
after
season.
week 5, Philadelphia was on their game, okay? It just took them
it's because
till
we
week 5.
it's because we eliminated Jalen Hurts from the quarterback island.
It's exactly what happened. We took all the pressure off him, and he was able to commit to the game, and they won.
Right?
That's how it is.
You're welcome, Pete. We gave you the Super Bowl for that.
Hey, I'm good with it. Listen, I'm the one who put him up for elimination, if you remember.
Yeah, and we're the ones that agreed with you and voted him off.
What did I do, like a 10-minute rant on how we should kick Nick out of the city, fire him on the plane ride home? I think that's what I said.
I think it was something like that, yeah.
Yes, I'm glad I don't make those decisions.
I can't say much. When they benched Saquon in week 17, week 18, I was saying the same thing.
Yeah.
I was like, they need to fire that guy.
All right. I think that's going to be about it for us this week. You guys got any final thoughts for the episode?
Be sure you're watching those must-lose games at the 76ers.
I wanted to say congratulations to Josh Berry for winning the Pennzoil 400 and snapping Chris Bell's 3-race hot streak. And congratulations to the Dodgers for completely destroying the Cubs in Japan. Way to go, guys.
Yep. All right. And I do not have any final thoughts for this week. I didn't have anything. All right, but that's going to be it for today, folks. Thanks so much for tuning in. Be sure to like, subscribe so you never miss an episode of the Geeks and Greeks podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and Amazon. You can also find us on Facebook at Geeks and Greeks. Don't forget you can also reach out to us on email at geeksandgreeks365@gmail.com. Until next time, may the coin toss of life ever be in your favor. Later.
Peace.
Peace.